Hello everyone, I am Tara and this is my second YouTube video, and my first one was called World of Ink Syndrome. The first one raised awareness about the syndrome because it is not a common syndrome that a lot of people know about, and also I had the video for self-closure of how I felt with living with it and how it has affected me greatly because of how the people around me treated me. This second video will be more about people with disabilities in general, or people who are different in many different ways and are treated differently and are affected by these differences. I am doing this video so that I can raise awareness of people who are atypical, people who don't know what it's like to live with a disability or know what it's like to be different or feel like an outcast. And this video will remind you, hopefully take you to a place where you understand what it is that you are doing to these people when you are doing what you decide to do to these people. Now, when I was a kid, when I first was kind of identifying myself, I didn't see anything different about myself. I saw myself as atypical. I saw myself as feeling normal and feeling like a human being living life. And once people started making fun of me and treating me differently and asking me questions that weren't really appropriate of how they were asking, they were more like making fun of me as the way they were asking me. And I have to tell you that self-esteem does not come from oneself. It comes from the people you are surrounded by. Now, people always say, oh, well, if you want to think positive and you want to be positive about yourself and be uplifting, you have to surround yourself with good people. That is true, but what you don't really understand is that when you are a kid, you don't have any power of who you surround yourself. You don't know who to ignore and who to not ignore. You know what I mean? And because of that, and because we are so innocent at the time, our mind is still learning and digesting to this world. And when I was a kid, like I said, I felt normal and atypical. But when I started to notice that people treated me differently and made fun of me, and that I didn't have any friends, and that I noticed that every time I wanted to speak, nobody wanted to listen, didn't care to acknowledge me, and when I was acknowledged, it wasn't for a positive reason. It was for a negative reason. Like, oh, she looks funny. What's wrong with her? Why does she look like that? God, she's so ugly. Those are the kind of things that I was hearing and noticing around me when I was being recognized. And because of those experiences, it has made my self-esteem low. Self-esteem does not come from oneself. It comes from not just by someone calling you ugly or gorgeous or beautiful. It's about the acknowledgement you get. Are you good at sports? Are you good at anything in life? If you're good at school, that kind of helps with your self-esteem, but that's only one part. Self-esteem is like looking at the universe. In each direction, self-esteem is applied in different parts of what makes you you. Now, most people who have low self-esteem is not coming from a place where we acknowledge it ourselves. No, it comes from the acknowledgement of the people around us when they mention negative things about us, the way they teach us and treat us and make us feel is a huge part of why we have low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is when you are given the negative feedback constantly. When you think you look attractive and someone says, oh God, you look hideous. When you think you're doing good and someone says, oh no, child, please, you're not doing anything good. Those kind of things impact us. And we start to see things through your eyes. And let me tell you this. When a person has low self-esteem, and you've been around them your whole life, you kind of have to question yourself. What did I do to make this child feel that way? Or this person or this friend? When you are supposedly joking, guess what, honey? You're causing low self-esteem. Especially when it's the same joke over and over. It doesn't become a joke anymore. It becomes something that you seriously think, but are afraid to actually say, you know what, this is how I feel. Straight up. This is how I feel that you are. I feel like you are so ugly. But instead you sugarcoat it with the, I'm just kidding, it's a joke. Gosh, why so serious? Well, if you continue to say it over and over, what do you think is starting to happen in our brains? It's like you're conditioning us to believe that what you are saying is actually truth. That's what you have to understand, is that life is a circle. And this is why they say karma. Whatever you throw out there comes back at you. And that's true. What you are doing to a person by making fun of them and judging them prematurely, and this does not mean that you are just calling them ugly. It means that you either don't give them an equal chance to prove to you that they're worthy at a job, or that you don't allow them on a sports team, or that you don't allow them as a friend in your life. And those things play a part in self-esteem. When I was a kid, I had trouble making friends. And it wasn't because I was a negative person. It wasn't because I was mean. It was because people thought I had the cooties. They didn't know what I had. They didn't ask. They just judged me prematurely. And where did I get them? Nowhere. But what did that do to me? It affected my self-esteem. That is what it did to me. And you can imagine all the other people who gone through life feeling like they didn't feel like they belonged here. And because of that, you are teaching us that we shouldn't feel valued, that we are not important, that we are punished. Let me tell you this. God does not make mistakes. Whether you believe in God or not, we are all here for a purpose. We all serve a purpose in anybody we cross paths with. If you don't understand it, that's fine. But don't take it in a negative way and shove it down the toilet. Because we don't deserve that. We deserve for you to hear us. Hear us as people and understand us. If you don't understand us, that's fine. But don't judge us. Don't think negatively of us. Just give us a chance. Especially if you don't understand us. Just give us a chance. That is all we want and need in this life. All we need is love and understanding and respect and appreciative. Because like I said, God does not make mistakes. God made me this way for a reason. You may not understand his reasons, and I may not always understand his reasons, but I know I was not here to be punished by you. Now, the reason you are allowed to treat me this way, and the reason I have allowed you to do that, and God has allowed it, is because of free will. Not because it's right. Not because I deserve it. But because of free will. But remember what God stands for. He stands for love. He stands for being open-minded, respecting those we don't understand, respecting other people other than ourselves, by acknowledging our beauty as individuals, by making us look so distinctively different in some ways. You know how you meet identical twins and they look exactly alike, but something tells you that they are not the same person. What do you think that is? If God wanted us to be the same, he would have made us all the same kind of person. He would have made us all look the same, think the same, act the same, walk the same, everything you can think of, the same. We would not have any disagreements, we would know exactly what one is thinking, but that is not the case here. The case here is for us to understand life, understand the bigger picture in life. to be humble at all times, to be thankful at all times. It is a privilege to be in the vessel that you are in, whether you don't think so or not. There is a reason behind every vessel that you are in. There is a reason behind every story that you tell. There is a reason for everything. But must you turn it dark? No. So remember, when you treat someone differently, guess how that is impacting the lives of others. Guess how that is contributing to the catastrophes that we continue to experience day in and day out. If you want life to be better, if you want world peace, it starts with how you treat people. It starts how you see people. It starts how you judge people unfairly. It is the fact that you are judging. It is the fact that you are so close-minded that you don't understand life itself and the meaning of why we are the way that we are. I am me, and I have this vessel, and I have this syndrome for a reason. Whether you understand it now, but hopefully you will in the future. But right now, don't judge me. Don't treat me unfairly. Don't make fun of me. Because guess what? God created me this way. I didn't create myself this way. God did. This right here is what God created. And you're making fun of your sibling. You're disrespecting God. You're disrespecting yourself and I. Remember that when you think about treating somebody unfairly. Think about what you are actually doing in society. You think you're a good person? Think again.